Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So, as we have seen in our last session, Raghunath Das Goswami approached Nityananda Prabhu and he told him, if you want the blessings of all the devotees, then you have to do this Chida Dehi festival at Panihati, at the bank of Mother Ganga. So this big festival was organized, and after that, Mahaprabhu Sri Chaitanya personally appeared with Nityananda to bless Raghunath Das. So after being very satisfied with the service Raghunath Das has rendered, personally Sri Nityananda Mahaprabhu blessed him. Let Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accept you and place you under the charge of his secretary Swarup Damodar. You will thus become one of the most confidential internal servants, Parshada, and will attain the shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Nischinta hayyayaha apana bhavana achire nirvighne pabe Chaitanya charana. Being assured of all this, return to your own home. Very soon, without impediments, you will attain the shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sab bhakta dware tanre ashirvada karaila tan sabar charana raghu nath vandila. Lord Nityananda had Raghunath Das blessed by all the devotees present there, and Raghunath Das offered his respects to the lotus feet of all such wonderful devotees. Prabhu Agyalaya Vaishna Vera Agyalaila Raghava Sahite Nidriti Yukti Karila. After taking leave of Lord Nityananda Prabhu and then all the other Vaishnavas, Sri Raghunath Das consulted secretly with Raghav Pandit. After consulting with Raghav Pandit, he secretly delivered 100 gold coins and about 7 tolas of gold in the hands of Nityananda Prabhu's treasurer. Raghunath Das admonished the treasurer, do not speak about this to Lord Nityananda Prabhu now, but when he returns home, kindly inform him about this presentation of service. Thereupon, Raghav Pandit took Raghunath Das to his home. After introducing him to see his deity, he gave Raghunath Das a garland and sandalwood pulp, which was offered to the Supreme Lord. He gave Raghunath Das a large quantity of prasada to eat on his way home. Then Raghunath Das again spoke to Raghav Pandit. I want to give some donation, he said, just to worship the lotus feet of all the great devotees, servants and sub-servants of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, because by his mercy, I am going to get the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, I want to serve him. As you think it is fit, give 20, 15, 12, 10 or 5 coins to each of them. Raghunath Das drew up an account of amount to be given and submitted it to Raghav Pandit, who then made up a list of showing how much money was to be paid to each and every devotee. With great humility, Raghunath Das placed 100 gold coins and about 2 tolas of gold before Raghav Pandit for all the other devotees. After taking dust from the lotus feet of Raghav Pandit, Raghunath Das returned to his home, feeling greatly obliged to Lord Nityananda because of having received his great and merciful benediction. From that day on, he did not go into the interior section of his house. Instead, he would sleep on the outside Durga Mandap, the place where Mother Durga was worshipped. There, however, the watchman alertly kept guard. Raghunath Das was thinking of various means by which to escape their vigilance. So the father has kept the guard to check out he should not run away in the night time. At that time, all the devotees of Bengal were going to Jagannath Puri to see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Raghunath Das could not accompany them, for they were so famous that he would have been caught immediately. If he goes with them, his father will catch very easily. Thus Raghunath Das thought deeply about how he can escape. And one night, while he was sleeping on the Durga Mandapa, the priest Yadunandan Acharya entered the house when only 4 dandas remained until the end of the night. Yadunandan Acharya was the priest and the spiritual master for Raghunath Das. Although born in a Brahmin family, he had accepted the mercy of Vasudeva Datta. That means he has taken Diksha from Vasudeva Datta. Yadunandan Acharya had been officially initiated by Advaita Acharya. Thus he considered Lord Chaitanya his life and soul. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments that although the atheists who have deviated from the order of Sri Advaita Acharya introduce themselves as the followers of Advaita Acharya, they do not accept Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. Yadunandan Acharya, one of the most confidential followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, was the initiated disciple of Advaita Acharya. He was not polluted by sentimental distinction, classifying Vaishnavas according to birth. Therefore, although Vasudeva Datta had not been born in a Brahmin family, Yadunandan Acharya also accepted him as his spiritual master. When Yadunandan Acharya entered the house of Raghunath Das and stood in the courtyard, Raghunath Das went there and fell down to offer his obeisances. One of the Yadunandan Acharya's disciples had been worshipping the deity but had left that service. Yadunandan Acharya wanted Raghunath Das to induce the disciple to take up that service again. So it happens that pujaris leave the service. So this is coming from a long time. Even Mahaprabhu's time it was happening. Yadunandan Acharya requested Raghunath Das, please induce the Brahmana to resume the service, for there is no other Brahmana to do this service. After saying this, Yadunandan Acharya took Raghunath Das with him and went out. By that time, all the guards, watchmen were deeply asleep because it was end of the night. East of the house of Raghunath Das was the house of Yadunandan Acharya. Yadunandan Acharya and Raghunath talked together as they went towards that house. Halfway along the path, Raghunath Das submitted at the lotus feet of his spiritual master. I shall go to the home of that Brahmana, induce him to return, and send him to your home. You may go home without anxiety. Following your order, I shall persuade the Brahmana to again accept the service. On this plea, after asking the permission, Raghunath Das decided to go away. Raghunath Das thought, this is the greatest opportunity to go away because this time there are no servants or watchmen with him. Thinking in this way, he quickly proceeded towards east. Sometimes he turned around and looked back. but no one was following him. Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Charana Chintiya Patha Chhadi Upapathe Yayena Dhaliya. Thinking of the lotus feet of Shri Chaitanya and Shri Nityananda Prabhu, he left the general path which all the people would follow and proceeded with great haste on the one that was not generally used. Grame grame patha chhadi yaya vane vane kaya mane vakya chinte chaitanya charane. Giving up the general path from village to village, he passed through the jungles, thinking with heart and soul about the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was constantly meditating at the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu. He walked about 30 miles in one day. That's a great distance. And in the evening he took rest in the cowshed of a Gopala, milkman. When the milkman saw that Raghunath Das was fasting, Upavasi dekhi gopo, dugdha ani dila, and he gave him some milk to drink. Raghunath Das drank that milk and lay down to rest there for the night. At the house of Raghunath Das, the servant and watchman, not seeing him there, immediately went to inquire about him from his master, Yadunandan Acharya. Then Yadunandan Acharya said, he had already asked my permission and returned home. Thus there arose a tumultuous sound as everyone cried, "Now Raghunath Das has gone away." Raghunath Das, his father, understood that he is missing. So he said, "Now all the devotees from Bengal have gone to Jagannath Puri to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Raghunath Das has played with them. 10 men should go immediately. Go and catch him and bring him back." Raghunath Das's father wrote a letter to Shivanand Sen, who used to lead the party of the Bengali devotees going to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Jagannath Puri, asking him with great humility, "Please return my son." In Jhankar, the 10 men caught up with a group of Vaishnavas with Shivanand Sen going to Neelachal, Jagannath Puri. After delivering the letter, the men inquired from Shivananda Sen about Raghunath Das. But Shivananda Sen replied, "He did not come here with me." The 10 men returned home, and Raghunath Das's father and mother were filled with great anxiety. Raghunath Das, who had been resting at the milkman's house, got up early in the morning. Instead of going to the east, he turned his face south and proceeded. He crossed Chhatrabhog, but instead of going on the general path, he proceeded on the path that went from village to village, Gramina Path. Chhatrabhog, now it is known as Chhadakhadi, is in the district of 24 Parganas in West Bengal. It is situated near the celebrated village Jayanagar Majilpura, formerly the Ganga, or some of its branches flowed through this region. Sometimes Chhatrabhog is misunderstood to have been a village on the river Kansai Nadi in Benapur. Not eating about anything, he travelled all the day. Hunger was not an impediment, for his mind was concentrated upon obtaining the shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sometimes he chewed fried grains, sometimes he cooked, sometimes he only drank milk. In this way he kept his life and soul together with whatever was available, and he could get it, and he kept on going. Slowly he reached Jagannath Puri in 12 days, but could eat only 3 days on the way. That means once in 4 days he could eat. When Raghunath Das met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Lord was sitting with his companions, headed by Swarup Damodar. अंगनेति दूरे राखी राही करे न प्रणिपात मुकुंद दत्त कहे ए आइल रघुनाथ. Staying at a distance place in the courtyard, he fell down to offer his obeisances. Then Mukunda Datta said, "Here is Raghunath." As soon as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard these words, he immediately welcomed Raghunath Das. "Come here," he said. Raghunath Das then clasped the lotus feet of the Mahaprabhu. But the Lord stood up and embraced him out of his causeless mercy. Raghunath Das offered his obeisances at the lotus feet of all the devotees, headed by Swarup Damodar. Seeing this special mercy what Mahaprabhu had bestowed upon Raghunath, they all embraced him also. Lord Mahaprabhu told him, "The mercy of Lord Krishna is stronger than anything else. Therefore the Lord has delivered you from the ditch of materialistic life, which is like a hole into the which people pass to." Prabhu kahe Krishna kripa balishta sabha haite tomare kadila vishay vishtha garta haite. So, material world or family life is called as Vishta Garta. It's called as stool pit. And from that, Krishna has very mercifully has removed it. Because the Vishaya Sukha is nothing but the pleasure of urine and stool. Raghunath Das answered within his mind, "I do not know who Krishna is. I simply know your mercy. O my Lord, you have saved me from this family life." The Lord continued, "Your father and his elder brother are both related to the brothers of my grandfather, Nilambar Chakravarti. Therefore, I consider them my grandfathers." Nilambar Chakravarti, the grandfather of Sri Chaitanya, was very intimately related to Raghunath Das's father and uncle. Nilambar Chakravarti used to call them his younger brothers because of both of them very much devoted to Brahmanas and very respectable gentlemen. Similarly, they used to call him as Dada Chakravarti, addressing him as an elder brother Brahmana. Raghunath Das, however, was almost the same age of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Generally, a grandchild may joke about his grandfather. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took advantage of this relationship with his grandfather and Raghunath Dasa's grandfather and uncle to speak in a joking way. "Since your father and his elder brother are younger brothers of Nilambar Chakravarti, so I may joke about them in this way. My dear Raghunath, your father and his elder brother are just like worms in the stew, in the ditch of material enjoyment. Vishtha Kira. Vishtha Vishaya Gartera Kira. For the great disease of the poison of material enjoyment is what they consider as happiness. Although your father and uncle are charitable to Brahmanas and greatly helpful to them, they are nevertheless not pure Vaishnavas. They are almost like Vaishnavas. Vaishnavera prayah nahe Vaishnava shuddha. They are not pure devotees, but they are just like devotees. That means kanishtas, vishayis. They are still attached to material enjoyment. Those who are attached to materialistic life and are blind to spiritual life must act in such a way that they are bound to repeated birth and death by the actions and reactions of their activities. So those who are attached for sex life and attachment to family members only on material platform will surely take birth again and again, and there is no hope for them. That's why Bhagavatam also says, Nunam pramatta kurute vikarma yadindriya pritaya prunoti na sadhu manni yat atmanoyam asannapi kleshadasadeha. A materialistic person madly enjoying the activities for sense gratification does not know that he is entangling himself in repeated birth and death, and that his body, although temporary, is full of miseries. A Vishayi is completely caught up in the web of materialistic life, remains in the cycle of birth and death perpetually. Such a person cannot understand how to execute pure devotional service, Shuddha Prema Bhakti, and therefore he acts as a karmi, jnani or so-called yogi or something else according to his desire. But he does not know that the activities of karma, jnana and yoga simply bind one to the cycle of birth and death. Hena Vishaya Haite Krishna Uddharila Toma Kahana Nayaya Krishna Kripara Mahima. By his own free will, Lord Krishna has delivered you from such a condemned material life. Therefore, the glories of Lord Krishna's causeless mercy cannot be expressed. Since Raghunath Das, skinny and dirty, because of having travelled for 12 days and fasted so much, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his heart melting due to causeless mercy, spoke to Swarup Damodar. Hey Raghunathe Ami Santinu Tumare Putra Bhritya Rupe Tumi Karangikari. My dear Swarup, I entrust this Raghunath Das to you. Please accept him as your son or servant. Tina Raghunath Nama Haya Amar Gane Swarupera Raghuaji Haite Ihar Name. Now there are 3 Raghunath as my associates. From this day onwards, this Raghunath should be known as Raghu of Swarup Damodar. Swarupera Raghu. Raghu of Swarupa. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had 3 Raghus as his associates. Vaidya Raghunath, Bhatta Raghunath and Das Raghunath. Now the Das Raghunath became celebrated as Raghunath of Swarupa. Saying this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu grasped the hands of Raghunath Das and entrusted him to the hands of Swarup Damodar Goswami. Swarup Damodar Goswami accepted Raghunath and saying, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, whatever you order is accepted. He then embraced Raghunath Das again. Chaitanya Bhakta Vatsalya Kahite na pari Govindira kahe Raghu Nathe daya kori. I cannot properly express the affection of Sri Chaitanya for his devotees. Being merciful towards Raghunath Das, the Lord spoke as follows to his servant Govinda. On the way, Raghunath Das has fasted and undergone very hardships for many days. Therefore, take very good care of him, at least for some days, so that he may eat to his satisfaction. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Raghunath, go and bathe in the sea. Then see Lord Jagannath in his temple. and return here to take your prasad. Karaha bhojan asi. After saying this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got up and went to perform his midday duties, and Raghunath met all the devotees present. Having seen the causeless mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu upon Raghunath Das, all the devotees, struck with wonder, praised his good fortune. Raghunath Das took his bath in the sea and saw Lord Jagannath. Then he returned to Govinda, the personal servant of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prabhur avashishta patra Govinda tanridila Anandita hayya raghu Natha prasada paila. Govinda offered his plate with the remnants of food left by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Raghunath Das accepted the prasadam with great happiness. Raghunath Das stayed under the care of Swarup Damodar, and Govinda supplied him the remnants of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for 5 days. Beginning from the 6th day, Raghunath Das would stand at the gate known as a Simha Dwara to beg alms after Pushpa Anjali ceremony, in which flowers were offered to the Supreme Lord. After finishing their prescribed duties, many servants of Lord Jagannath, who were known as Vishayis, returned home at night. If they see a Vaishnava standing at this Simhadwara begging for alms, out of mercy they arrange with the shopkeepers to give him something to eat. Thus, it is a custom for all time that a devotee who has no other means of support would stand at this Simhadwara to receive alms from the servants. A completely dependent Vaishnava thus chants the holy name of the Lord all day and sees Lord Jagannath with full freedom. Sarvadina Karena Vaishnava Nama Sankirtan Swachhande Karena Jagannatha Darshan. So those who are completely surrendered to the Lord, whole day their job is to chant and take beautiful darshan of the Lord. It is a custom for some Vaishnavas to beg from the charity booths and eat whatever they obtain, whereas others stand at night at the Simhadwara gate begging alms from the servants. That's why it is said, Mahaprabhur Bhakta Gane Vairagya Pradhana Yaha Dekhi Prita Hayya Gaura Bhagavana. Renunciation, Vairagya, is the basic principle sustaining the lives of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's devotees. Seeing this renunciation, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is extremely satisfied. That's why if you don't see some Vairagya in the devotees of Chaitanya, then it is a question whether he is a devotee of Lord Chaitanya. If he is just a Vishayi, then it is difficult that he is a Chaitanya's great devotee. Govinda said to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, now Raghunath Das no longer takes prasadam here. Now he stands at the Simhadwara, where he begs some alms to eat. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard about this, he was greatly satisfied. Raghunath Das has done well. Bhala Kaila Vairagya Dharma Acharila. He said, he has acted suitably for a person in renounced order. A person in the renounced order should always chant the holy name of the Lord. He should beg some alms to eat, and he should sustain his life in this way. That's why even in Hari Bhakti Vilas it is said, Krityani tani tu prayo grihinam dhaninam satam लिखितानि न तु त्यक्त परिग्रह महात्मनां प्रभाते चार्धरात्रे च मध्याह्ने दिवसक्षये कीर्तयन्ति हरिं ये वै ते तरन्ति भवार्णवम् एवम् एकान्तिनां प्रायः कीर्तनं स्मरणं प्रभो कुर्वतां परमप्रीत्या कृत्यं मन्यन्न रोचते. A well-to-do householder Vaishnava cannot live like a person in the renounced order who completely takes shelter of the holy name. Such a householder should chant the holy name of Krishna in the morning, at midnight and in the evening. Then he will be able to cross beyond nescience. Pure devotees in the renounced order, however, who fully surrender to the lotus feet of Krishna, should chant the holy name of the Lord with great love and faith, always thinking of Krishna's lotus feet. They should have no occupation other than chanting the holy name of the Lord. That's why even in Bhakti Sandarbha, Srila Jiva Goswami Pad says, Yadyapi Shri Bhagavat Mate Pancharatradi Vada Archana Marga Seishavaksha Tvam Nasti Tadavinapi Sharanapatti Adinam Ekatarinapi Purushartha Siddhera Abhihitatva. In the Srimad Bhagavatam's opinion that the process of deity worship is not actually necessary, just as the specific prescriptions of the Pancharatra and other scriptures do not have to be followed. The Bhagavatam enjoins that even without practicing deity worship, one can achieve the complete success of human life by any of the other devotional processes, such as simply offering oneself at the lotus feet of his protection. A Vairagi, a person in renounced order, should not depend on others. If he does so, he will be unsuccessful and he will be neglected by Krishna. Vairagi hayya eva kare parapeksha karya siddhi nahe Krishna karena upeksha. If a renunciate is eager for his tongue to taste different foods, his spiritual life will be lost and he will be subservient to the taste of his tongue. Vairagya kritya sada nama sankirtanam shaka patra phala mule udara bharan. The duty of a person in renounced order, Vairagya Jiva, is to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra always. He should satisfy his belly with whatever vegetable, leaves, fruits and roots are available. Jivher lalsa ei iti utidhai Shishnodara parayana Krishna nahi pai. One who is subservient to his tongue, belly and genital, he cannot attain Krishna. The next day, Raghunath Das inquired at the lotus feet of Sarup Damodar about his duty. Ki lagi chhadaila ghar na jani uddesh ki mora kartavya prabhu kara upadesh. O my master, I do not know why I have given up my household life. What is my duty now? Kindly give me instructions. Raghunath Das never even spoke before the Lord. Instead, he informed the Lord of his desires through Swarup Damodar Goswami and his servant Govinda. The next day, Swarup Damodar Goswami submitted the same to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Raghunath Das has this to say at your lotus feet. I do not know what is my duty, what is goal of my life. Therefore, please personally give me instructions from your transcendental mouth. Smiling, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Raghunath, I have already appointed Swarup Damodar Goswami as your instructor. You may learn from him what your duty is and how to discharge it. I do not know as much as he knows. Nevertheless, if you want to take instructions from me with faith and love, you may ascertain your duties from the following words. These are very, very important instructions of Mahaprabhu for all of us. Gramya katha na shunibe, Gramya varta na kahibe, Bhalana khaibe yar, Bhalana paribe. Do not talk like people in general, Gramya katha, and do not hear Gramya varta, whatever nonsense they say. You should not eat very palatable food, nor you should dress very nicely. Amanina manadahaya, Krishna nama sadalaibe, Vraje Radha Krishna seva, Manase karibe. Do not expect any honor and offer all respect to others. Always chant the holy name of Lord Krishna and within your mind render service to Shri Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan. I have briefly given you my instructions. Now you will get all of this in detail from Swarup Damodar Goswami. Trinadapi sunichena, tarorapi sahishnuna, amanina manadena, kirtaniya sadahari. One who thinks himself lower than grass, who is more tolerant than a tree, and who does not expect personal honor, but is always prepared to give respect to others, can very easily always chant the holy name of the Lord. Having heard all this, Raghunath Das offered his prayers at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the Lord, out of great mercy, embraced him. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again entrusted to Swarup Damodar Goswami, you take care of Raghunath. Thus Raghunath Das rendered very confidential service with Swarup Damodar Goswami. At that time, all the devotees from Bengal arrived, as previously mentioned. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met with all of them with great feeling. As he had previously done, he cleansed the Gundicha temple and held a picnic feast in the garden, Jagannath Vallabh garden, with all the devotees. The Lord again danced with the devotees during the Rath Yatra festival. Seeing this, Raghunath Das was struck with wonder. When Raghunath Das met with all the devotees, Advaita Acharya showed him great mercy. He also met with Shivananda Sen, who informed him that your father sent 10 men to take you away. He wrote me a letter asking, if you are with me, then I should send you back to home. But when those 10 men received no information about you, they returned home from Jhankara. When all the devotees from Bengal returned home, after staying at Jagannath Puri for 4 months, Raghunath Das's father heard about their arrival and therefore sent a man to Shivananda Sen. That man inquired from Shivananda Sen, did you see anyone in the renounce order at the residence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? That person is Raghunath Das, the son of Govardhan Mujumdar. Did you meet with him in Nilachal? Shivananda Sen replied, yes sir. Raghunath Das is with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and is a very famous man now. Who does not know him? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has placed him under the charge of Swarup Damodar Goswami. Raghunath Das has become just like the life of all the devotees. He chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra all day and night. He never gives up the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, not even for a moment. He is in the supreme order of renounced order of life. Indeed, he does not care about Babaji eating and dressing also. Somehow or other, he eats and maintains his life. After 10 dandas, that is 4 hours at the night, have passed and Raghunath Das has seen the performance of Pushpanjali. He stands at the Simhadwara gate to beg for some alms to eat. He eats if sometimes is given to him to eat. Sometimes he fasts, and sometimes he chews only fried grains. After hearing this, the messenger returned to Govardhan Majumdar and informed him all about Raghunath Das. Hearing the description of Raghunath Das's behavior in the renounced order, his father and mother were very unhappy. Therefore, they decided to send Raghunath some men with goods for his comfort. Raghunath Das's father immediately sent 400 coins, 2 servants, and 1 brahmana to Shivananda Sen. Shivananda Sen informed all of them, "You cannot go to Jagannath Puri directly. When I go there, you may come with me. Now go home. When all of us will go, then I shall take all of you with me." Describing this incident, the great poet Sri Kavi Karnapura has written extensively about the glories and activities of Raghunath Das in his Sri Chaitanya Chandrodaya Nataka. Raghunath Das is a disciple of Yadunandan Acharya, who is very gentle and extremely dear to Vasudeva Datta, a resident of Kanchanapalli. Because of Raghunath Dasa's transcendental qualities, he is always more dear than life for all of us devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Since he has been favored by the abundant mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is always pleasing, vividly providing a superior example for the renounced order. This very dear follower of Sri Swarup Damodar Goswami is the ocean of renunciation, who among the residents of Nilachala, Jagannath Puri, does not know him very well. This is from Sri Chaitanya Chandrodaya Nataka of Sri Kavi Karnapura. We will continue the pastime of renunciation of Raghunath Das and his services in association of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in our next session. Dhanyavad. Hare Krishna.